Turns out that Bob Marley and Dr. John were so close. Welcome to Walking Through the Word for today. We're in John chapter 14, and this begins a very long monologue, teaching monologue from Jesus to his disciples. And this is a very powerful set of encouragements that Jesus comes and gives. This is unique to John. And it really is about a message of hope. This is where Bob Marley and Dr. John were kind of right. Bob Marley said, every little thing is going to be all right, don't worry. And Dr. John said, you got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative. They weren't quite right there. See, here's the thing about it. Jesus himself says, don't let your hearts be troubled. Now, if someone was to say to me, hey, don't worry, it'll be okay, I'd be like, all right, I appreciate that, but I'm not sure that I'm going to instantly turn off the worry. Now, if Jesus told me, hey, don't worry, I got this, maybe I might listen a little bit better, but the truth is that our sinful nature makes it hard for us to not be troubled. And so Jesus says, well, let me tell you why you shouldn't be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms, and if that were not so, would I have told you that I'm going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me, that you may also be where I am. You know the way to the place where I am going. So we've got a couple of different things here that Jesus is talking about that is really specifically why we shouldn't be troubled. The first one is, hey, the Father and I, we're one. Remember all these amazing things that I did? You've believed in the Father, and now you can believe in me, that I am who I say I am. And pretty soon, even in the darkest time, you're going to see why you don't have to be troubled by me. My Father's house has many rooms. Now, what is my Father's house? Well, very simply, we know that this is heaven. This is the idea of being in the afterlife with Jesus. And if it were not so, I would have told you, and I'm going to prepare a place for you. So we have this idea of heaven, but not only do we have this idea of heaven, but we have an idea that there is a place for us in heaven. Specifically, prepare a place for you. That's a big deal. Now, the other part of it is if I'm going to go and prepare a place for you, I'm going to come back and take you with me. In other words, not only do you believe in me as the Messiah, but trust that I have a place for you in my Father's kingdom, and I'm going to come bring you back to it someday. This is great comfort for us. You know, when we let ourselves be troubled, I think sometimes we do it because we don't remember the positive promises that Jesus gives us. And he gives us a lot of those promises. This is where Dr. John was kind of right. Because while there are going to be negative situations, we have to understand that in these negative situations that God hasn't forsaken us and he hasn't left us. And in fact, what he's doing right now is preparing a place for us. Doesn't mean that we're going to avoid the negative, but ultimately we understand that when Scripture tells us all things work together for the good of those who love him, we understand that it is an ultimate picture. It is the end result. This is what the promise of Jesus saying, I'm going to come back for you is. That we can take comfort in this, and we can hold on to these promises. Not promises that you and I make that get broken all the time, but promises that God makes. And when God makes a promise, he doesn't break them. He just doesn't. He never has. And so we can take comfort in knowing that we are valued enough where Jesus is going to come back to us and bring us home. Not the home we know here, but the home of our Father, our Abba Father, our Father who is in heaven, whose name is holy. This is a beautiful comfort that we can take. And when we become troubled, this is what we should cling to. Not the false promises of a world that will tell you, hey, it's going to be fine in the end, it'll be good, or hey, just focus on the positive and the bad stuff won't happen. Keep my eyes closed and you can't see the bad. But that's not real life, is it? We understand that we are not destined to have a life of pleasure here on earth necessarily. That's not what God promises, but what God does promise is a fulfilling life filled with chasing his desires that gives us a life worth living. And he promises that in the end, in eternity, it will be far worth and far greater than anything we could possibly imagine. That is definitely worth listening and not letting our hearts be troubled.